Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic. Dominaria United is giving us the Legends Retold, a series of 20 classic characters reimagined with modern designs. And there's a lot to appreciate here. Massive glow-ups from 20 years ago and a ton of cool new effects that we've never seen on legendary bodies. So I wanted to do something a little different with them. I'm going to give the definitely definitive, in no way subjective, irrefutably true tier list of all 20 of these legends. I'll be looking at the old versus new versions, how unique or brewable their abilities are, and what synergies come to mind for build potential. Feel free to tell me just how wrong I am in the comments below. Remember that if you want to order any of these Legends Retold, you can head over to my affiliate Hairy Tarantula, linked below, and use my promo code CMDR5 for 5% off your entire order, and CMDR Mechanic to help support the channel. Diving in, our first Legends Retold is Ayesha Tanaka, Armorer. Ayesha has received a massive glow-up, going from a 2-2 with banding and an activated ability to counter artifacts activated abilities, to a 2-4 that can now cheat multiple artifacts into play on attack, along with a conditional unblockable effect. After all, who doesn't play artifacts in Commander? Now, her effect is more similar to an Armored Sky Hunter, looking at the top cards of your library and putting more than one onto the battlefield. She's perfect for wearing equipment too, and is a great equipment-focused Voltron commander. Suit her up and she can start pulling more high-value artifacts from your library into play. With evasion built in, she's like a better Moist Daxos, so anything he could be doing, Ayesha could be doing better. But is she the best at this? Personally, I don't think so. 5 mana is a lot to ask to start getting out 2 mana value artifacts for free. And unless you're giving her haste, in these colors relying on just boots really, she's an easily telegraphed play. If you pair her with a Sigarda's Aid or a Hammer of Nazan though, she can be real good at the lead of a deck or in the 99. I'm ranking her at a solid B tier. Next up is the ever-changing Dane. Staying very similar to his original incarnation, both the new and old Dane are Esper 3/3 shapeshifters. But where half Dane just changed his power, new Dane can become a copy of any creature you sacrifice. While the sacrifice effect isn't free, it does cost a mana, having a sack outlet in the command zone can be very strong, and can enable many aristocrat-style combos much easier than needing an additional piece from the 99. One of the very cool things here is doing something like cloning or making a copy of your opponent's biggest or best creature, then sacrificing that to Dane. That way you can essentially make a Lord of Extinction your commander if you wanted to, an easy way to punch in for lethal. Or turn Dane into a consuming aberration after you've attacked and an opponent has declared no blocks. And while it's cute, I don't know if it's enough. I like this effect better on Lazav the Multifarious. If I want to make an Esper Shapeshifter deck, he makes the lead just on theme alone. But being 3 color means he doesn't fit in the 99 of too many decks. There may be some cool combos that you can pull off with him, but unless that's specifically what you're aiming for, I think Dane here is a miss. I'm putting him in the D for Dane tier. Next up is General Marhault Elsdragon. This classic Gruul Rampager definitely got a buff. Originally with a bigger butt, Marhault only got +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature blocking him. While he's been doing his squats and that booty has toned up, he now gets +3/+3 for each creature blocking him. There are plenty of ways to give your creatures trample in green, like a Garruk's Uprising or a Brawn, making blocking a Marhault a no-win situation. If you want a commander that's going to lead from the front, Marhault's a great option. What I'm really keen on seeing is lure effects with Marhault. He could essentially be a board wipe on a stick and is an excellent body to put additional effects on. The fact that he's an uncommon, which means little as these are all box toppers, means he's able to be run in formats like Artisan too. That gives him an edge over some others on this list. The General earns himself a spot in B tier for sure. Next up is a legend that's near and dear to a lot of hearts and wallets. It's Hazazon Tamar as Hazazon, Shaper of Sand. The original is almost $250, which you may be able to pull from collector boosters of Dominaria United. But the new Hazazon retains a few key qualities. He's Naya, a human warrior, and still makes 1/1 sand warriors, but now has a desert-focused spin to him. Having a commander that lets you play lands from the graveyard is amazing, as that effect is rare and only comes on cards like Crucible of Worlds or Raminap Excavator. In the command zone, if this were any land, you could absolutely do some degenerate things, but the sad part is, there are only about 16 deserts in this color combination, and they aren't, well, good. But we've been seeing a ton of new gates printed lately, so we can hope we get some real good deserts soon too. I think Hazazon has some potential. He's nowhere near as good as his past version, a rarity with these legends retold, but for every new desert printed, he inches closer to greatness. For now though, Hazazon isn't going in the 99 of any decks and isn't quite there at the head of his own deck. I'm going to put him in the F+ tier, giving Dane a little tickle. Time will tell if Hazazon does get any better. That brings us to Jedit Ojanin Mercenary. OG Jedit was a vanilla cat warrior in blue and white, and his new incarnation makes him a sneaky Bant with a green cost to his triggered ability. The glow up here is pretty clear. He's still a buffed shirtless cat dude, which is all cool and good, and dropping his mana value from 7 to 3 definitely makes him much more viable in today's modern standards. Now, Jedit wants to be leading a ragtag crew of legendary mercenaries on a heist of the century, bringing his own crew of cool cats with him. Bant Legends Matter is a cool archetype, and we don't really have a great focused commander for it yet, so Jedit fits a role. Additionally, he does work in a 4 or 5 color Legends Matter deck too. He'll be at home in a Sisay deck or even a cat tribal deck with a Kahira companion. The versatility and massive boost in usability pushes Jedit up to an A tier legend without a doubt. Now we take a look at the Lady of Otaria, formerly known as the Lady of the Mountain. Another legend that was a simple vanilla 5/5, this one a Gruul 6-mana giant. The lady here is a huge indicator of design standards 20 years on. She's still a 5/5, but now for 5 mana instead of 6. She's an avatar, and instead of being vanilla, she's basically the god of dwarves. That's right, she can be free cast if you tap a few dwarves, praying to her in reverence, and if you're able to sacrifice a land on each of your turns, fetch lands do work here, you can grab a few dwarves off the top of your library. A great card advantage engine for a tribe that's been getting a lot of love lately. Between Magda and 7 dwarves, we basically have enough reasons to play a dwarf deck, and much like Hazazon, new cards printed are only going to keep making the lady here better. I don't see her in the 99 of a deck because 2 or 3 color dwarf decks aren't really a thing, but she's got a ton of potential and people will absolutely make a deck around her. She gets an A tier from me, love for a tribe that's on the rise and nothing but potential on the horizon. Now we move on to Lady Kaleria, now known by her full name of Ohabi Kaleria. Originally, Ohabi was a massive 7-mana Selesnya elf archer that bolted attacking or blocking creatures, as we see so many archers do. A 3/6 for 7 mana is a lot to ask though. So now we see her as a much more reasonable 1/3, the best creature size, for just 3 mana. She now has reach, as all archers should, and untaps all archers during each other player's untap step. She also has a triggered ability when your archers deal damage of any kind to a creature to pay 2 mana and draw a card. This is an incredibly niche commander for a tribe that has never seen anyone lead this kind of deck. All told, there are 60 plus archers in green and white in all of Magic, of varying levels of quality, but Ohabi makes it possible to unify them. And of course, it's important to remember that, with a Maskwood Nexus, everything can be an archer. Ohabi in the 99 of a Pinger deck or an everything tribal deck where you turn everything into archers, could be deadly. She's a solid B tier right now, but there's room to grow. Next up is Ramirez Di Pietro Pillager. One of the earliest revealed Legends Retold, Ramirez is no stranger to retellings. Originally a 7-mana 4/3 first striker, we then saw Ramirez post-mortem in Commander Legends as a specter of himself, now a smaller, more evasive partner. And now we see Demir Ramirez, back in his heyday and plundering the high seas. On entering the battlefield, he makes you 2 treasures at the cost of 2 life, refunding half of his mana value, and has a pirate-centric trigger. Looting booty from opponents your pirates pillage. This Ramirez is generically good, leading a Demir Treasures deck or a Pirates deck or just in the 99 of anything pirate or treasure related. He's just as at home next to an Academy Manufactor as he is under Admiral Beckett Brass's command. This gives our Pillager a ton of versatility, making him a great fit in the format. A definitive A tier. I guess the 3rd time's the charm for our swashbuckler. Now we have Ramses Assassin Lord. The original Ramses Overdark was a 6-mana 4/3 assassin with a particular hatred of enchanted creatures, but the new Ramses is a significant improvement. Now a 4/4 for 4 mana, a better body at 2/3 the cost, he's got Death Touch and pumps your other assassins. Additionally, he can win you the game if you take out a player you've attacked with an assassin. I did a video all about Ramses and his crew of hired killers, linked up top. He's definitely got potential. The fact that we're getting more new assassins seemingly every set means that he's not only getting better, but there are a ton of ways to utilize that ability. I know I'm going to take it as a point of personal pride to win the game with his trigger sometime. He fits in the 99 of decks, he leads his own deck, and he's only on the rise from here. Ramses is definitely an S tier legend. We now move on to Rasputin Dreamweaver, now Rasputin the Oniromancer, a dream diviner for those that wonder what that word means. Originally, Rasputin was a 6-mana 4/1 that did a whole bunch of stuff that equates to making some mana or preventing damage. Something not entirely in blue and white's color pie back before pies and magic were ever a concept. Now though, Rasputin retains his 4/1 body and is only 3 mana, same size, half the cost. He also retains his mana making ability. Apparently that persisted through color pie changes. Its rare blue or white makes mana that isn't limited to being cast on instants or sorceries. Now though, Rasputin can remove dream counters to make night tokens too, at the cost of giving each opponent a goblin when he enters the battlefield. It's good to see that both Rasputins have a boatload of text on them, but it's sad to see that new Sputin doesn't have a way to regain his dream counters. Supplement it with some proliferate perhaps, and you can keep on dreaming. Based on the glow up alone, Rasputin scores high, and using him as a one-shot mana dork that makes 3 mana is definitely handy in a color combo that can't normally ramp like that. Find a way to deal with some goblins and he makes a great addition to a blink-focused deck. All told, Rasputin lands firmly in A tier. Now we move on to Papa Roga, Curkeep Overlord. In case the name isn't familiar, Roga is the father to Rograk and is the original Lord of Kobolds. His first incarnation was a 6-mana 5/5 that required you to pay red for your Kobold's loyalty. But now he keeps his hefty +2/+2 pump of Kobolds and can summon dragons. There's a neat symbiotic relationship between Kobolds and dragons that's on display here for sure. Meaning Roga can lead a deck all about Kobolds to make some free dragons, or all about dragons to make some free 2/3 Kobolds on cast. This also means he fits in the 99 of Dragon Tribal decks too, getting you a bit more cheap fodder when you can cast your big threats. It is important to note that there are only 12 other Kobolds in all of Magic, so don't go thinking you can build a whole deck out of these little guys just yet. But the D&D sets bring us new Kobolds each time, so we will see more. Overall, Papa Roga here scores in the B tier. If we get a few more kobolds, this can definitely come together, but right now he's an underloved lord for an underloved tribe. Next up we have Stang, one of the only original legends to see a reprint into modern Magic without any changes. Stang was a 6 mana for essentially 2, 3, 4 creatures, which honestly isn't a bad rate. But new Stang, Echo Warrior, brings a lot more to the table. Now Stang has an attack trigger to make temporary twin tokens tapped and attacking. In addition, you then get to make temporary tokens of any aura or enchantments you may have on the original Stang. This is a Voltron player's dream. What's better than 1 bulked up attacker? 2! The best part though is creating token copies of everything attached to Stang. This triggers everything from token doublers to enter the battlefield effects. Having an Eidolon of Blossoms out and making copies of all of the auras on Stang can result in a lot of card advantage. Having a Hammer of Nazan out and making copies of equipment can let you then move those equipment around when they enter, potentially putting them all on the original Stang for an extra punch. This is the modified commander we should have had from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It's just missing the ability to copy the counters on him too. Stang is a house and I want to brew with him. A tier without looking back. Now we have Cevitry Dragon Master, the only one of these legends retold to have gained a spark in their redesign. The original Cevitry Skarzam was a vanilla 5 mana Dimir 6/4, so anything is an improvement over that. But now she's a planeswalker that can be your commander, with some unique abilities. Her first being a Pillow Fort style effect, except it costs life instead of mana. Her second being a tutor to hand for dragons, and the third being a Crux of Fate choosing dragons. She clearly knows what she wants to be. She wants to be in dragon decks or lead a dragon deck. I was originally skeptical of her viability as a dragon commander because dragon decks rely on green ramp or red's discounts, but there are almost 70 dragons in blue, black, or colorless, so filling the 99 wouldn't be an issue. It's getting to the 6 or 7 plus mana that would be the issue. I know that won't stop people from trying to build her, and it shouldn't, but I don't think Dimir Dragons is quite there yet to support this archetype. For me, she's a C tier. Now let's look at Tetsuo Imperial Champion. The original Tetsuo was a 3 mana Grixis 3/3 with an activated ability to destroy a tapped or blocking creature, while also not being able to be targeted by auras. The new Tetsuo though, he's still a 3 mana 3/3 human samurai, but now instead of fearing auras, he wants to be wielding the Yumezawa family Jitte. As long as he's equipped, on attack, Tetsuo gets to either deal damage to any target equal to the highest mana value of equipment attached to him, or you can free cast an instant or sorcery from your graveyard with a mana value equal to or less than the highest mana value equipment attached to him. Both of these options are terrifying, as you can just rebuy spells at an ever-increasing rate, or just get twice as much use out of tutors with nothing but a Lightning Greaves attached to him. And if your graveyard is empty, he gets to pick creatures off or go straight to the dome for damage. Tetsuo is the most generically good of all of the legends retold. Sure, he's going to need to be in an equipment-heavy deck, but you could easily curve so smoothly the value is ridiculous. Tetsuo is the S tier of S tiers. This is the box topper you want to hit. Now we take a look at Tobias Doomed Conqueror. Another blue-white legend, Toby here was originally a 5 mana vanilla 4/4. Now he's a little speedier, as a 4 mana 3/2 with flash. Additionally, when he dies, you make a boatload of zombies for each non-token creature that died under your control. This is a captain that is looking to go down with the ship. I don't like the archetype, but this is certainly a potential commander for a board wipe heavy deck. Flashing him in response to your own board wipe to leave you with an army while your opponents rebuild? It's pretty good. Apart from that, I don't see a fantastic use for him at the head of a deck. In the 99, he can be Wrath Protection for sure, a trick to hang onto when you fear you've overcommitted to the board. But as a commander, boring. He's C tier. He's better than he was, but he's still not making any waves. Moving on, we have TorWalki the Younger. Another of our first revealed Legends Retold, TorWalki isn't too far a cry from the original. Both are 5 mana 3/3 black and red archers, though TorWalki the Younger comes packed with a myriad of modern tricks. Now with Reach, as all archers should, and Lifelink, and any other source that you control that deals non-combat damage deals that much damage +1. Also, when you cast an instant or sorcery spell, TorWalki pings any target for 2 damage. Since he has Lifelink, this is 2 damage and 2 life. TorWalki may be my favorite new group slug commander, replacing Mogis God of Slaughter. The ability to regain some life and increasing the ping damage on permanents like Harsh Mentor, stretching your burn spells further and adding more and more damage to them. There's a home for TorWalki already, both in the 99 and in the command zone. He is a solid A tier legend without a doubt. Now let's look at Torsten, founder of Benalia. Torsten here is the only legend to cost more than his original, jumping from 6 mana way back to 7 mana now. However, instead of being a vanilla 5/5 for 6, he's now a 7/7 for 7 that helps fill your grip when he enters the battlefield. This alone makes him a great flicker target for a Conjurer's Closet or a Teleportation Circle. But he also has a death trigger that makes 7 1/1 soldiers too. I like everything he's doing, but paying 7 for him? That's just way too much for not enough effect. He's also a mythic for however much that matters, but at 7 mana he just doesn't fit the mythic mindset. You're likely casting this guy once in a game of Commander. The mana value alone puts him in D tier. It's a shame because otherwise it's a huge glow up. Now we have the legend everyone's buzzing about, Zaira Golden Sting. Previously just a 1/2 flyer for 3 mana with a Jund-colored activated ability to draw a card, she's kept all of the regal glitz and glam of a queen bee and is now the best dressed 4 mana 3/3 flying haste creature you've ever seen. Additionally, when she attacks, you seed a creature with an egg counter, and when that creature dies, you draw a card and make a 1/1 flying insect token. But look at this insect token! Isn't this little lad just the most dapper? This token tells a story all on its own and I love it, it is precious. That alone earns her high marks, but being a swift Jund attacker that's not a dragon, and helps grow your team while drawing you cards, amazing. There are a few ways to double up on attack triggers too, like Wolfgar, so you can see these two getting along really well. There's nothing not to love here. She's dapper, an efficient body with 2 keywords, and draws you cards and makes tokens. She's perfect. I would put her in S tier, but I can't resist a good pun, so she goes into B tier. Don't all swarm the comments now, your words sting. Now to Jasmine Boreal, another of the early revealed legends retold. Jasmine was once a vanilla 4/5 for 5 mana, nothing impressive. But she's received a complete overhaul. She's now a 2/4 for 3 that cares about vanilla creatures, tapping to add 2 mana to cast vanilla creatures and making your vanilla creatures near unblockable. She's the latest in the no keywords matter troupe with Ruxa Patient Professor and Muruganda Petroglyphs. Though the difference here is where Ruxa and Petroglyphs are fine with you making, say, creature tokens without abilities, Jasmine wants to enable you to cast vanilla creatures without abilities. Meaning, instead of packing your deck with token generators like you can with Ruxa, you may want to put in some, actual vanilla creatures. Her unblockable ability is always on, meaning you can get away with not making use of her being a double mana dork, but I honestly think that part's wasted here. Who actually wants to cast vanilla creatures? She's 50% useful, 50% useless in my opinion. Very niche really. I'd love to rank her higher, but she's living in C tier. Lastly, but not leastly, we have Orca Siege Demon. Originally Lady Orca, a 7-mana 7/4 vanilla Rakdos demon, Lady Orca has definitely benefited from an update to modern design standards. She's still 7 mana and is smaller at 5/5, but gained Trample, which is huge. She also grows, getting a +1/+1 counter whenever any other creature dies. This means chump blocking her is out of the question, as you might be taking even more damage than you originally were. And if that weren't enough, when Orca herself dies, she explodes, dealing damage equal to her power divided however you choose. These abilities make Orca a super swarm of bloodflies with Jury Master of the Review stapled to her. A massive demonic attacker that's going to wreck shop even if she's taken out before attacking. 7 mana is a lot to ask, but these colors are great at getting creatures into the yard then reanimating them, or looping them with other effects. If you can find a way to loop Orca here, you can blast down opponents each time she dies. I think that gives her plenty of potential. 7 mana is, as previously mentioned, a lot to ask. That's going to keep her from ranking a lot higher, but Orca lands firmly in B tier. And there you have it, the definitive, official, definitely objective right ranking of all of the Legends Retold Legends. What did you think of this power ranking? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And be sure to check out my sponsor, Moxfield. Moxfield is the best deck building platform in the world and makes it easier than ever for me to build, edit, and catalog my hundreds of decks. Check out my Moxfield profile, linked in the description below, and be sure to follow me there for a sneak peek at my latest brews. Which Legends Retold legend are you looking forward to getting your hands on and brewing with? I'll be showcasing a few new decks here on the channel soon. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and as always, good luck and have fun.